It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, June the 20th. Good morning. We need a name, not for the first time ever. I'm not asking for a band name.
Oh.
I need an arena name.
An arena name?
The Xcel Energy Center may very well have a new name next year.
Oh, so it's got to be a company.
A new naming rights sponsor after next season. Xcel Energy, let's see, the arena has had Xcel Energy worth is about a $3 million check they cut every year for per year over 25 years for the Wild as its title sponsor. There is another company apparently that's already made an offer to the Wild. They're
Dairy
the
Queen?
operators of the arena.
Is it Dairy Queen?
I can't say. I'm not at liberty to say. It's not.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know who it is. But I'm thinking, hear me out, the KQ House of Rock. Let's just rebrand the whole damn thing. Can we get together $3 million bucks from the station?
Yeah.
The KQRS House of Rock. Or if you prefer, as a tip of the cap to our Germanic friends, House of Rock.
Guess which page a new stadium is on if we could, somehow wrestle $3 million away from this company. I don't think I'd start with a stadium.
Oh, come on, man. That'd be awesome.
How about a microphone that works?
How about this? If you're going to have a new name and it's not the Xcel Energy Center, is it just so obvious that I don't even have to say it? The Spam Center?
Spam,
that's nice.
Spam would rock.
We need a Minnesota company to come in there, in a big way. How about just the Spam Center or the Spam? What else could it be? The House of Spam.
Broken Hearts.
House of Spam.
So where the Wild play.
I think I have the name.
What's the name?
The Ope Arena.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I know. Back when the arenas used to have fun names, the Cow Palace, stuff like that,
Yeah.
And now it's
the Concert Gabot in Amsterdam.
Now it's some conglomerate, right?
What about if it was the Spam Center, then the Monty Python Spam song right before they drop the puck every game.
No.
An arena full of people just going spam, 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 spam. I mean, come on, it's right there for you, Minnesota.
That's too English.
Is it too English?
Too English. No English accents at a hockey game.
The Jolly Green Giant Center? Jolly Green Giant.
I like that one. Tonka Trucks. Tonka.
Ooh, Tonka's good.
The Tonka, I don't know.
The Niblets.
The Niblets, yeah.
The House of Niblets. I was thinking Red Wings something, but then you're like, wait, you can't name an arena after one of your competitors. You can't have the Detroit Red Wings come in and play at the Red Wings Center.
Yeah,
that wouldn't work. Sorry, Red Wings shoes.
How about Buffalo Wild Wings? That's a Minnesota company.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings started right here by a group of ladies, right?
I'm gonna trust your research there. That's new to me.
Not much to it, but
man, is Famous Dave's better than Buffalo Wild Wings? Famous Dave's Arena?
Yeah, Famous Dave started here as well, right?
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
The only thing Monty Python
song
ever did that I didn't get, just kind of swinging a mess, I thought.
Just too close to home for you. You're just too attached to Spam.
I'm not attached to Spam. I hate Spam.
Is that true?
I hate it.
Keep it to yourself. Those are fighting words.
Hater.
Spam. Hater. You're just a hater to hate.
I like meat.
How about this? How about the Target Center? And then everyone's confused constantly over which
Meet you
one.
at the Target Center. They're playing at the Target Center.
We got two 35s. Let's have two Target Centers. What the hell?
Yeah,
Why not? Come on,
losers
step up,
in
Target.
both cities, yeah.
Come on, man. The best button. No, I think Spam Center would be the way.
Zubas?
The amount of Spam treats they would whip up there, like all your, whatever you think you're going to get, there's going to be, Spam nachos. Come on, man.
Spam shake.
If it can't be the KQ House of Rock, I vote for Spam Center. That's me.
Yeah.
Or maybe we just call it the Queen Dome.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the Queen Dome.
Yeah.
You see?
Queen Dome.
See where I'm going there? The band Queen. They just sold
from
their
Minnesota.
catalog. They just but they're really but they run the world. Queen just sold their music catalog to Sony Music for $1.3 billion.
There you have. Is that all?
$1.3 billion. Four dudes in 1970 said, hey, you want to start a band? You want to play music together? Okay, yeah, sure. And then 21 years later, the singer died. And 33 years later, they sell the whole kit and caboodle for $1.3 billion. After they've been printing money for 50 years, now they're just the big sellout. Queen, $1.3 billion. That's for everything excluding live revenue. They're still going to be able to tour and make all that money. $1.3 billion. So again, my first thought is, okay, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and the Beatles. What are those catalogs worth? If Queen is worth $1.3 billion, then good God Almighty, what are the Beatles worth? $10 billion?
I suppose.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy to me. If you've ever wanted to pick up the phone and have Nicolas Cage whisper sweet, creepy nothings in your ear, I have great news for you. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. What about the Knack? Ooh, my Sharona. The Knack blew up out of, literally, they came out of nowhere. Biggest band in the world for a hot minute. And then Doug Fieger, the lead singer, he just pissed everyone off so much in the industry. I mean, he literally talked himself out of a career. He badmouthed everybody. He was the most arrogant
one
dude.
of those guys.
Think about being so arrogant, you piss off people in rock.
Yeah,
That was
right?
him. He just couldn't make a friend to save his life. He and Kevin Dubrow, Quiet Riot, the two industry stories of they just ran their mouth so much. Finally, everybody was like, you know what? Screw you. We're done.
Randy Rhoads talked about that before his death, about making that leap from Quiet Riot, the up-and-comers, over to Ozzy. And he's like, well, you got to go play. When Ozzy calls, you go play with Ozzy. He said that, and then he alluded later in the article to Kevin Dubrow, kind of getting on his case a little bit too much, never really appreciating Randy Rhoads playing.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
I know.
okay.
You've got Randy Rhoads in
Sure
your band.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you get on his case a little more often?
fun fact about Doug Fieger of the Knack. His older brother, Jeffrey Fieger, was Jack Kevorkian's attorney.
Wait a minute.
Jack
Oh, that's
Kevorkian,
weird.
the Doctor of Death, the famous attorney. You saw him on CNN.
Yeah.
Every time you saw Kevorkian, you saw his attorney representing him, and that was Fieger. So one guy's the attorney for Kevorkian, the other guy's the dude in the Knack, and the Dr. Death's attorney has a better reputation. Go figure.
Yeah, no kidding. So the guy representing the guy that assisted on suicides was the brother of the guy who committed
Career suicide. That's
Okay,
right.
just want to get that straight.
I saw Doug Fieger, the Knack Fieger brother. I saw the guy from the Knack at a place in LA once, a Paquito Mas. I'm going in there for a burrito.
Is he working?
And I'm in line. I'm in line behind him, and I was like, "That's the dude from the Knack." And that's the whole story. Like he was just that dude who had once been in the Knack. It was like, man, you wrote a song about a 16-year-old girl. Cool. All right. See you later.
I remember refusing to speak to either one of my parents for 2 weeks, which was kind of a big deal, especially when you just all lived together in a little farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere, because they would not let me go when I was 14 years old to the South Dakota State Fairgrounds to see the Knack.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I couldn't even sneak out. We were 25 miles out in the middle of nowhere with one old pickup. It was just hard to sneak away. So
Couldn't you just say you were going to the fair and leave out the Knack part?
yeah, no, they just weren't cutting me loose. Probably something that I did, but yeah, for 2 weeks I just walked around and Mom's, Brian, I'm not saying a word.
Great drummer in the Knack for the
Yes.
record. Can never remember the guy's name, but that first album, that dude is
Right.
killing it.
I know. If you just crank it
Sensational.
on a good stereo, you notice the drum kit in the Knack.
Francis Ford Coppola, multi-Oscar winning, legendary, iconic director and wine man. His new movie, Megalopolis, critics are saying he's lost his mind. He financed this whole thing himself. We'll see what happens. But, he's still in the mix. Speaking of famous relatives, Francis Ford Coppola's nephew, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, just a gift to us all for whatever you're looking for in an actor. He has provided at least once over the years, good and bad and otherwise. He's got a new movie out called Long Legs. Nicolas Cage has a movie called Long Legs. And there's a new marketing campaign. Basically, here it comes. Do you want to hear Nicolas Cage whisper in your ear? You can call a phone number, 458-666. Watch out, 458-666-4355. And if you call that number, this is what you'll hear.
There she is. What's your name? Little angel? Nice to meet you. I'll be waiting.
I just want to hear all the outtakes. Hey, Nicholas, we got an idea for the film. We're going to Maybe that's taken from the script itself. Maybe that was, but something tells me that Nick Cage went into a phone booth. I mean, into a recording booth for a while and just said a bunch of weird crap, and they took the best stuff out.
I'm just gonna wing it, man.
That's good stuff. Cage. By the way, actually, that was off my iPhone speakerphone this morning. Made that call and just held it up to the microphone, and we recorded that. That's maybe a third of it. There's just a lot of heavy breathing in there.
Put down the bunny.
Nicolas Cage Longlegs, in pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues. Yeah, perfect. Get Nick Cage on that one. Surely 2 out of every 7 days he wakes up and goes, I can't believe my life.
What I'm getting away with.
What in the world? Why, these people just keep coming to me with giant trucks full of money to play these weird parts. How did this happen?
There she is.
It's like, what a life.
Your name.
This is how I'm going to greet people on the boat on Friday.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's creepy. He's got the creeper thing going.
Yeah, he sure does.
So far, so good. If you're a fan of online pornography, you can still access Pornhub in Minnesota. However,
what's Pornhub?
As of June 27th, Indiana will be blocking access to Pornhub.
Why is everybody picking on Pornhub?
On July 10th, Kentucky will be banning access to Pornhub, and they will join Utah, Texas, North Carolina, Montana, Mississippi, Virginia, and Arkansas. Already have porn. You can't access it from those states.
What are you going to do for porn in those states? Oh yeah, all right, so here's the thing.
96 billion sites.
Utah, the Momos out there were way out in front of this one. They banned Pornhub years ago, and I was hanging out in Utah, cruising porn on my phone in a hotel, as you do.
Yeah.
And I come across Pornhub, and they have a little video, a very attractive lady sitting there going, the state of Utah has banned us. If you go talk to your state legislator, I'm like, oh, stop talking. You have your shirt on. But it turns out there were 500 other viable sites to go to.
Sure.
So, I mean, you can keep putting your finger in the dike.
Yeah.
No rim shot? Come on, man.
Easy.
Keep putting your finger. But yeah, it's porn. We will find a way to get off with our little 30-second clips of goodness. But why? So why just Pornhub? See, everybody seems to be going after Pornhub.
I guess they feel it's the biggest. So I guess the idea is just cut off the head and the the fish rots from the head down. What am I trying to say?
It's porn. There's no cutting off the head.
It's like starfish. Go ahead and cut that leg off. It's going to grow back.
That's what it's like. It's not a snake. It's a starfish.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The little brown starfish.
There's age verification laws in those states.
Yeah, that's right.
If basically what these states, you have to upload a government ID to prove you're over 18.
Okay. I know you've already got all my information, every little thing. My phone, or whoever's out there tracking it all.
Yep.
They know more about me than I remember about me. But, all right. So now we have to register with the government.
Minus the bombings. Kaczynski was right. The Unabomber. Just go to a shed. Don't have electric. Just if you don't want someone to know what's going on with you. Well, actually, there's probably a little bit more than just the bombings he was wrong about. But I mean, just the concept of I always say, my definition of success will be the day I just throw away my smartphone and get offline. No email. I just want to be in my mind, I have this day I'll reach where I'll be like, you can't find me. But I'm like, well, what's the point? My information's all out there. It's it's eternal. I'm sure the first email I ever sent, and I held off. I didn't get an email address till 2000. That's the first time I had an email address.
Yeah, that's late to the party.
I was late, but I'm sure the first email I ever sent, whatever it was, somebody could dig it up right now.
Oh, yeah.
On a long since deleted AOL account. Somebody could find it.
Sure.
I could probably find it, and I'm just half-ass adept at, finding my way around on the internet stuff, and I could probably, give me 15 minutes, I could probably track it down, but...
There's a T-shirt for you for Christmas time, though. Kaczynski was right.
Yeah, boy.
There's a fine line between psychopathy and the truth.
Something tells me I'm going to regret having said that out loud into a microphone sooner than later.
It's a package for you at the door.
Mike Evans, Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Zep and Tony. Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. One more day, we got the weekend and movie reviews tomorrow. Just a reminder that if you're ever going to a movie, the only place to go is Marcus Theaters. And if you can't make it this weekend, remember, every Tuesday, $6 for any movie at any Marcus Theater, the best movie chain in the country. So, something a little different today. I'm going to do a little spewing. It's a personal comment. But I got to tell you, I am so sick and tired of these overpaid, oversexed, egomaniac celebrities. Justin Timberlake's attorney says they will vigorously fight the, quote, unfair, wrong DWI arrest of his client, end quote. Yeah, okay, I know that's his job. He's the attorney. All right, all well and said. But let's take a look at the facts, shall we? Justin Timberlake was partying and drinking with his buddies for 3 hours. He laughed about swigging down his friends' drinks anytime any one of them got up and went to the bathroom. At least one of his friends say he was, quote, wasted, end quote. The valet said he was drunk when he left the parking lot. Videos show that he was driving erratically. He refused to take a breathalyzer. That alone in some states would make you guilty. He failed the sobriety test altogether. But his high-paid attorney says the arrest was unfair and wrong. Give me a break. Steve, if it was you or me or Tony or Zepp or any of our listeners this happened to with these facts, they throw the book at us. Justin Timberlake should be a man, just admit that he was drunk. You'd get a lot of respect if he would do that, but you know that he won't. The hottest story of the day, several cast and crew members of the movie Rust will testify for the prosecution against Alec Baldwin. They will confirm that Baldwin, as the producer of the movie and star of the movie, was, quote, reckless, sloppy, negligent, careless, and lax when it came to firearms on the set, end quote. And an expert prosecution witness will testify Baldwin's claim the gun went off by itself is, quote, 100% impossible, end quote. I don't know. Sounds like an open shut involuntary manslaughter case to me, but hey, I'm not an attorney. That's just me. So I got a kick out of this. Disney says, well, they're hanging in there. Time's been a little tough and business has been a little down for the Disney Corporation and budgets are kind of tight. But the Disney Corporation just got a $17 billion bank loan to expand Disney World in Florida by 18 acres. $17 billion, business can't be that bad. And yesterday I told you that Jack Nicholson's health is failing. Today I am very, very sorry to report that Bill Cosby is also not doing well at all. Bill Cosby is 87 years old. Movie reviews and more tomorrow. Have a great day. Mike Evans, see ya.
Is he sorry that serial rapist Bill Cosby is in failing health?
No.
Facetious?
He's sorry that America's father, comedian and pudding lover Bill Cosby is in serious health. Yeah.
I think maybe that was some I don't know. I'm confused. I do know this. Sometimes it's just easier and a little more clear if you simply look back. How about this? In 1982, at the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, Tom Watson on the 17th hole chipped in from 16 feet away with a sand wedge for birdie. That basically eliminated Jack Nicklaus, who'd already finished and was waiting to see if they were going to go into overtime, extra holes. He denied Jack Nicklaus his 5th U.S. Open. Tom Watson, if you've probably seen it, he does one of the most awkward little dance jigs you've ever seen, but an incredibly famous moment in golf. Reminding me to remind you, Jack Nicklaus came in second. That was one of his 19 major runner-ups to go with his 18 wins.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Tiger has 7 runner-ups to go with 15 wins. So Tiger Woods, best ever, but not the greatest ever.
No. And Tom Watson, the most successful a man with feathered hair has ever been.
It's him and Sean Cassidy, one or the other.
Right.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, June the 20th. The Xcel Energy Center may be getting a new name soon. After next season, somebody's going to have to pony up $3 million to slap their name on that bad boy. The Xcel Energy Center is so named for what? Almost a quarter of a century, it looks like. If we're going to get a new brand name on there, I went straight to Spam Center. I just know
That's the best one.
The Spam Center. And and you get to play on words. You get emails you don't ever even open. You simply delete them, or a nice, beautiful sandwich. Either way, however you want spam to be. On the KQRS Facebook page, we asked for some suggestions for a brand name. How about this one from Charlie? He wrote the Depends Arena.
Is Depends?
For how many times our teams have soiled themselves when it comes to games that matter.
That makes sense.
Wow.
That's brilliant. We're getting away from the Minnesota companies, but it's brilliant. It's good. Yeah, no.
Ooh, how about this? Hormel brings you the Pig Pen. Call it the Pig Pen.
Well, then you've got Pigs Brewing. What was the old
Pig's Eye?
Pig's Eye. That was some old guy that used to live down in a cave along the Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Pig's Eye had a patch or whatever.
Could have been our state capital instead of St. Paul.
Really?
He would smuggle booze on the Mississippi, and it's called Pig's Eye. There's a Pig's Eye Brewing, but Pig's Eye, Minnesota.
All right. I like it. The Caribou Center, Mosquito Center. That's pretty good. The Bunt Cake Center. Yeah, okay. lot. They all sound good to me.
Zuba's still around? That was a Minnesota company. Remember those pants?
Right.
The Zubas?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that was here?
Good old Minnesota, yeah.
The Heggy's House of Hockey on the Facebook page. I know what that's all about. Yeah, that checks out.
That's good.
Heck yeah, it does.
On it.
We'll figure it out. We'll get one up there. I'm sorry, man. I'm still sticking with Spam Center. I just like the sound of it. It just rings. It just comes right off the tongue.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
We reported very important information a few weeks ago about a woman in southern India who had been caught. She was an airline employee, a flight attendant, and she was caught smuggling gold. In fact, it was almost an entire kilogram of gold, and she had inserted it. Let me see if I get this right. That's right, in her rectum.
Don't say like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
She and her supervisor were busted. It was the two of them cooked this up.
I mean, I get a Juicy Lucy in me, and I feel full. It's just hard. You're constantly clenching,
Rectum damn near killed him.
What about that conversation? No, I think you're going to be the one to carry this.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Where do you want me to put it? I tell you what. Why don't I just show you? I don't even know how that happens.
A whole kilo? Can we split it up?
In here.
Yeah.
And so, but this is, this is just another day for people who do security at airports all around the world. On a list of most bizarre things people have tried to smuggle, either the item itself or how they tried to do it. In Bangkok, Thailand, a man was pulled over. He had a bunch of stuffed animals, like little plush toys, in a bag, and he put it through the X-ray machine. And somebody had a little suspicion, unzipped it, and it's just a bunch of stuffed animals, like a dozen of them. But one actually had some warmth. It was a drugged, sound asleep, actual tiger cub amidst other stuffed little animals.
That's pretty smart.
Kind of smart, Except, but what's the point of smart? Why are you trying to carry a tiger anywhere? It's like a time release, slow plan suicide because that animal's going to kill you eventually.
Hey, Mike Tyson needs a pet.
I guess so.
Did
that must be what that is.
For a while, was it a lion? I can't forget.
He had a tiger.
Now he's into pigeons,
he had a tiger in The Hangover. I don't know if he had a tiger in real life. Yeah. That made for some good stuff.
How about Tony Montana?
Not a documentary?
It was not a documentary. It was based on real events, however. How about this? A gentleman in China was, with this just last year, was attempting to smuggle through a turtle, a rare type of small turtle. He had it in his takeout container wrapper in a bun as if it were a burger. He literally took a turtle, put the bun around it, stuck it in like imagine like a little quarter pounder box. He stuck it in there. You got to like the idea, though. You got to love the thinking on that.
That's
sure. No one's going to notice. My burger's moving.
Right. There's a guy that's not a drinker at an airport. See, I would get drunk and then go, oh, my God. Did I eat that burger? Oh, that was the turtle.
That was the turtle.
I thought it was a little crunchy.
An Australian woman detained after landing in Singapore. She had 15 plastic bags of live tropical fish. She wore a custom-made apron. The fish bags were underneath her skirt. The people at customs are like, what's all these flipping sounds around your waist? She's just got a bunch of fish flopping around underneath her skirt.
All right.
I mean, I
for a good time.
You got to be high when you think that makes sense, right? You always hear stories about people who like they're jonesing for whatever their addiction, and they're digging holes in the backyard. I think I buried some cocaine there, didn't I? You know, like that suddenly makes sense to you. Sewing fish into your skirt, you got to already be high. When that makes sense, you got to be whacked on something.
And what's the market there? I know tropical fish, they get a lot of money, right? At a pet store.
I guess.
At a specialty store.
I guess.
That's not where you're selling it. You're selling it on the streets, on the internet. So it's a bargain deal. All right, whatever, I guess.
I just imagine you're in the big city and you turn left and you see an alley and there's a guy standing going, yo, man, fish. Yo, man, I got fish. Tropical fish.
Opens up his blazer.
Right.
There was in Tucson International Airport in Arizona, a woman had a pound of methamphetamine wrapped in a tortilla so that it looked like a burrito. She didn't think to put any other burrito type items in it, though. It's like, sister, the refried beans, the cheese, some
that's
jalapeno,
less meth, though, man.
Anything that's going to have a different scent, because the drug dogs, they were all over her. Pound of meth.
Burritos.
Not a good one. How about this? A Norwegian man detained. He had 14 live royal pythons and 10 albino leopard geckos placed under his clothing, held in place by socks and cans.
Hey.
But that's not what tipped him off. They found a tarantula in his luggage that he had checked, and then checked him out, and on his person he had all those other animals.
That means a lot of them are getting through, because they always catch like less than 1% of whatever gets through.
That's exactly the point. Like, how many animals are? I mean, how many animals have you sat next to on a plane you had no idea were there?
I don't know. I mean, I felt like I was the animal on the plane, but maybe not. Yeah, maybe there was some exotic. This is
that an albino leopard gecko, or are you just glad to see me?
That's called our next pandemic.
I guess so. A South Korean woman was attempting to smuggle. This one's even hard. Boy, she was asked to drink or discard her water bottle during a routine security check. They're like, ma'am, you got to get rid of that water.
Yeah.
She sipped the water, but then she didn't swallow it, and she was she was uncomfortable with her water bottle. Security got suspicious. They said, ma'am, you need to spit that liquid out. She spat out several dozen tadpoles she had in her mouth.
What is
She was thinking she could get all the way through the tadpoles live. Not in a plastic bag in her mouth, loose in her mouth.
All right. The meth I get some of these things. But again, the tadpoles are going to grow into a frog that you're going to sell.
Not that rare.
I mean, right, exactly. I'll find you a frog. Hell, it's been raining so much they're, swimming down the ditches now. But maybe it was one of those acid frogs or something. I don't know.
I guess it could have been. With a few more. You know what? Here's a good one. New Delhi, India. Airport detained a man. He was trying to smuggle a small nocturnal primate called a slender loris between his underpants and his thigh. Right there in the front office.
That's a fetish.
I've got a monkey in my pants right now, but I'm not crossing state or international lines, so it's fine. If I leave my home and come to KQ with a monkey in my pants, totally fine.
Right, yes, and whatever disease your monkey has stays in your pants.
Just don't try to, cross international borders with that. A widow and her stepdaughter, check this out, attempted to transport a dead elderly man from Liverpool to Berlin by pretending he was just asleep.
Sure, my weekend at Bernie's.
Had him in the wheelchair. They were literally trying to do this. They wanted to avoid the cost of transporting a body for a funeral in Germany.
Right, okay.
This is difficult. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Tony, who's on the horn?
Barry from South Carolina has an interesting find from TSA.
Barry, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How the heck are you?
I'm good. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, so I do installation of heavy medical equipment, and sometimes I do some stuff for subcontract work for the TSA.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started doing that, I got on TSA's Instagram account, which is fabulous, by the way. And there's a gentleman down in Fort Lauderdale that thought it'd be a good idea. And again, even the first part of this, I'm just like, okay, what is he thinking? He decided it'd be a good idea to pack a uncooked whole chicken in his carry-on, which is weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird. Uncooked chicken. But he thought in his infinite wisdom that it'd be a good idea to try and sneak a handgun instead of chicken.
Oh, okay. That's
you got your turducken, you have your
gunkin.
Exactly.
That's a lot of grease on those chickens, man. You're going to be dropping that gun all the time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyway, thanks for taking my call. Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
That's ridiculous.
You know what you can't x-ray through? An uncooked chicken. They'll never see that gun in there.
I feel like it's...
Oh, is that where I left that gun?
It's important that I bring this gun with me. Hang on. Anybody got a chicken?
Yeah. No, don't bother cooking it. I'm in a hurry. I'm running a little late.
Yeah.
That'll do. Just raw like that.
No, that's fine.
I mean, it's now right, exactly. Here's what happens. You shoot the gun, and then you end up licking your finger, and you've got botulism right there.
The TSA Instagram account he referenced, I have seen it, and it is hilarious. It's just, and there's never a shortage of people just thinking they can get away with whatever. And especially the gun thing. It's amazing how many people... Quite honestly, I forgot I had a gun in my purse.
Hundreds.
I forgot I had a gun. It's every day.
Mama Dottie headed the airport with a handgun. Dad sent her to good old Minneapolis, hang out with her son for a couple of days, and then she was flying back east to see her sisters. We're leaving for the airport. Right there in the doorway, Mom said, oh. Before we head to the airport, she's already been at my place for 2 days, and she pulls out the 9mm from her purse. I better not take this to the airport.
Best not.
Yeah, no, Mom, why do you have the 9mm? Well, Dad said, coming to the big city, I should have a 9mm. I'm like, okay, thanks. And then she flies back. She's getting ready to drive back to South Dakota and says, oh, yeah, I should take your dad's handgun back. I said, not tell Dad. He knows where to find it. Okay, I'll hang on to this one for him. Quit sending my mom to the city with a frickin' gun, Dad.
I have a friend who shall remain unnamed, a touring musician who, in the midst of a breakup with his long-term live-in, unmarried but partner of many years, they separated. He was on his way to take a trip to the airport, and he had left the home. They lived together for a while, like as they were figuring out who was going to get what. Yeah. And he sent her a note and said, hey, I want to come by. Can I grab a few things before I leave town? She said, sure, tell me what you want. I'll just leave it out for you. And then I'm going to split because they didn't want to see each other. And he said he gave her the list, and then it included his jacket, like that one jacket I always love. And she said, sure. And he went into the house, and it was all the stuff's right there in a pile. He put the jacket on. He put the shirts in the bag. He went off to the airport. She put a hollow point bullet in the jacket pocket. Didn't mention it to him.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, he was naked in a room full of TSA agents like 31 minutes later.
Yeah, see, and that's
a fun prank.
That's my issue. Listen, Dad, if you want to send Mom armed, whatever, she can handle herself. She knows how to use a 9mm, but she's flying in a plane, and she's terribly forgetful. Yep. And that's what made me irate, is that if she had gotten out there, it would have taken me a year to get her out of frickin', whatever, holding or something like that. So she would have been on a no-fly list. But, yeah, no, that's called some bitter revenge right there.
Other travel nightmares, we got no shortage of those. Also, great news if you're looking for a lawyer with a specific skill set. And by specific skill set, I mean if you're looking for a lawyer who can drop a deuce in a Pringles can, you are in luck. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for June 20th. Good morning. The Xcel Energy Center will be renamed apparently sooner than later, within a year or so. We're looking for other suggestions. The General Mills Cereal Bowl. That one works.
Jason, that's kind of cute.
Call it the Cereal Bowl. Ian said on the Facebook page, I came here to suggest something like Jacobs Lefse Stadium. Okay. Okay, sure. 3M or Ecolab, it could be whatever. The Grain Belt Arena, kind of like that one. But then here's your ultimate Minnesota answer. Jeremy said, the arena of mediocrity. Oof.
Yeah.
Come on.
That nailed it right there.
Come on. Hope dies hard, man. I still feel good about it. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, stop saying that.
Yeah, I know. I just do it to watch the hackles rise up on the back of everyone's neck. We shared a story with you a few months ago about an attorney in Ohio, a gentleman by the name of Jack Blakesley in Noble County. This man has been an attorney since 1976. This man has never had a disciplinary report on his record until the end of 2021, when surveillance cameras recorded this gentleman. Now, again, he's a criminal defense attorney. He dropped a Pringles potato can into the parking lot of a crime victim advocacy center.
Okay.
So you've got a crime victim advocacy center, some people doing the Lord's work in there trying to help people. This dude drops a Pringles can in the parking lot and keeps on moving. Somebody walked out and saw the Pringles can and picked it up and opened it, and in that can was human feces. He was called in and questioned. His behavior was brought up. The question is this guy even fit to practice law? The Ohio State Supreme Court reviewed this, guys. It went all the way to the top of the state. During the disciplinary process, this gentleman claimed, look, I didn't target anyone, and I've pulled that prank at least 10 times this year.
That's never gets old. It never gets old.
No, I mean, no, it's great. Like, do you know how hard it is to poop into a Pringles can? The opening's not that big.
What happened to the little exploding snakes that pop out?
Well, I mean, that's
it's a little prank, but
that is getting old. Yeah, exactly. You know, where you kind of flinch and like, oh, it wasn't one of those snakes that pops out. It was a snake that's laying in there. It's hilarious. I love it.
He said he had known the victim advocates at that center for years. I've known these people for years. And by the way, he dropped that Pringles can 15 minutes before he was scheduled to see them in court. At the time, he was representing someone accused in a capital murder case. So that tells me he's on the other side of the aisle in the courtroom from the victims advocacy center. So 15 minutes before I'm going to go represent a guy who's been accused of capital murder, I'm dropping a deuce in a can in your parking lot.
Yeah. What is that whole victim advocacy thing?
I think it's someone who's been the victim of a crime.
Yeah.
Like a domestic abuse. You know, there's centers for women to go when they have nowhere else to go. You're looking after. It's a place that I would imagine in this case, a victim of any sort of crime that needs help from you need something. You don't have any resources. You are kind of alone out there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what one might call it.
Yeah. All right, so...
you have a problem with victim advocacy centers?
I don't know. I just don't have a problem with a guy pooping in a Pringles can and throwing it in a parking lot. Is that against the law?
Do you want your attorney to do that? You feel good about walking into a courtroom?
Would you look at him a little differently if you found out
in a heartbeat?
What if it's your granddad? The guy's been a lawyer for 50 years. He's probably got grandchildren. They're like, daughter's a sophomore at Ohio State. His granddaughter is like, hey, how you doing? What are you? You're a history major?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good to meet you. Is your granddad the guy that craps in Pringles cans? I mean, that's going to stain the family name. I'm just saying, that'd be a weird one. All I know is this. At a certain age, which is every day I've ever been alive, if I knew somebody whose family member was crapping in Pringles cans, I'd never let him forget it.
No, of course not.
Just what that is.
No, I think you're looking for the attention, aren't you?
I think that's a nickname waiting to happen. You're just going to be Pringle for the rest of your life.
Or just Chip.
Just Chip. Could be Chip.
That's not bad. Pringle or Chip. I've been called worse just this week.
Is there anything you want to share with us?
Well, not really.
Okay. Wow, man. In Florida, police were searching a building. There was a dude who was wanted on a parole violation, and they had good reason to believe he might have been hiding out. And so they were searching the building, and it turns out they did find him. Their tip was correct. He was hiding in the ceiling. Problem was he forgot to put his cell phone on vibrate.
Oh.
Yes, phone started to ring.
I hope it was something fun.
That's tough, man. He was wanted for violating his probation in connection to a burglary case. They tracked him down at his workplace nearby. He'd walked inside, but no one saw him leave. So they're like, hang on, this guy's got to be still. No one's seen him leave. He's still in here somewhere. He did manage to find a way into the ceiling, but then, yes, his phone started to ring. And then he started to, oh, crap, I got to get out of here. His hand went right through some insulation, knocked the tile down. One thing leads to another. There he goes. They tacked on more charges for criminal mischief and resisting arrest. So if you hide in the ceiling, it's called criminal mischief. Apparently so.
Mischief.
Yeah.
Here's something I find fascinating about in Europe. You will see stories occasionally about a jailbreak. Somebody busts out of lockup, and when they are arrested and reapprehended and brought back to jail, in Germany, Spain, several countries I've seen stories like this, and they always say they don't have an extra charge. They don't add on a charge for breaking it. Like if you bust out of prison in America and you get caught, they're going to tack on more years to your sentence for breaking out. Jailbreak is a crime. It's not a crime in a lot of other countries. They don't add to your sentence if you've broken out because they say the desire for freedom is just a human. That's a human right. Like to be free, it's natural to want to not be locked up. So yes, they bring you back in and make you finish your sentence, but they don't tack on more years for doing something that your nature would basically compel you to do.
It's very progressive of
I
them.
feel like most of the crimes I've committed just kind of came naturally.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you feel like?
I mean, yeah. I would let my poop Pringle lawyer argue that one in court.
What do you attribute your continued lack of incarceration to? Just good luck, or are you just smarter than all the cops?
I mean, I just sort of aged out of it, really. I did my time.
Any felonies?
No
Just,
convictions.
You're just talking about good old fashioned. This is criminal mischief.
Just having a little bit of fun here and there. Yeah.
Rabble rousing.
Yeah, exactly. I was rambunctious when I was younger.
Cow tipping and whatnot.
Yes.
Is that a real thing? Does that work?
Yeah.
I always had kids talk about cow tipping, but I never did it myself.
We grew up on a cattle ranch. Never once occurred to us to go out and try and tip over a cow.
Yeah, but is it something but is that a real thing? Or is that one of those, it's like when, there was a scavenger hunt and they put fallopian tubes on the list and the kids walking around trying to find fallopian tubes, you don't know?
No.
So is cow tipping the kind of thing that they get the rube to go out there and try to tip a cow and he ends up getting his ass kicked by a cow?
So the idea there is that the cow's asleep, right?
Yeah, right.
No, they lay down.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Cows lay down. Yeah,
I've seen them.
They just lay down right on the ground. Go drive by a cattle field sometime.
Right.
There are some just laying down sleeping right there.
There is a stretch of I-5, the interstate in California that goes from 5 goes from San Diego to Seattle. It's the whole West Coast, the interstate. And in the middle of California, there is a 20 to 30 miles, literally, where you drive through beef cattle ranch. And the smell hits you way beforehand. It's a phenomenally noxious area. But we were driving through that with the kids once when they were little. We lived in California. And I've never forgot the sound of my son's delighted squeal. He just happened to see a bull mount a cow.
Yeah.
And he said, "Dad, they're wrestling!" The timing was just perfect.
Yeah.
Never seen cows do that before.
But I
got to see that with my 4-year-old son.
Right. When my sister was little, we had them bring a stallion over to breed a couple of mares, one mare in particular that we had, and so that you would put them in a corral together and let them do their business.
Right.
And Angie came inside, and Dad's like, "Where you been all day?" She goes, "Well, I've been out at the corral. That new horse you brought over has been trying to jump on our mare," which is the name of it was Willow, jump on Willow all afternoon. I had to keep shooing him off. Dad's like, "Yeah, we're..." Yeah, I know, honey.
Willow's like, "Give me a break,
listen
honey."
Down, some birds and the bees had to have a little talk. But yes, he was being rude. He was trying to wrestle with her, so Angie was there to shoo him away.
Never had that experience except with our dogs, because in the 70s, I guess my dad's thing was like, why would we neuter our dog? Why would, Rusty, our Springer Spaniel, he lived a long life with nuts, which it's funny to think back that. So I never experienced the farm. I never had the farm experience, but I did have a dog who a couple times a year would just disappear for 4 days.
Yep. Yep.
Literally just go, because some other dog in the neighborhood would be in heat, and all the male dogs would just be there. It's so funny. That's so foreign. Only, 50 years later, whatever. But, like, it was just a normal thing. Like, where's your dog? Oh, someone must be in heat. He'll be back.
What a tramp.
And we would just be like, yeah, he's fine. And then he would disappear for literally 3 or 4 days. He'd finally come back home, beat to death. Just been in 7 fights. He'd have blood dripping out of his earlobe and stuff. He'd just be beat to hell. He'd be just smeared in all kinds of weird fluids and nasty. He'd need a bath, and he would just lay down and sleep for like 18 hours. Like, I've had the longest working holiday imaginable.
It's like a weekend for any married guy. Or, any single guy. For a married guy, that would be hunting camp, I guess.
That's what it was
disappear.
every time. He would just go away, and that was normal. Like, where's your dog? No idea.
Yeah, we had that was the farm dogs. They do that too. They just disappear. We rarely got the farm dogs neutered. If it was a farm dog, but not a hunting dog, that would ruin it. So we usually didn't neuter the hunting dogs, and they just disappear, come back all bloody and dirty, and the smile on their face, I guess, and an empty sack.
Chauncey got out of the backyard fence twice in his life, both times with a collar on. That clearly identifies who he belongs to and where he lives. And we're panicking like it's World War III about to break out. It's like, get in the car, chase around the neighborhood, find him. It's like lockdown. Like, it's insane, the difference. Yeah. Well, we'll see your dog later. Someone up
He'll
the street.
show up. It's time to eat.
Yeah, these things happen. Excuse me. We were talking earlier about some things people have been trying to smuggle. Bizarre cases of people smuggling live animals, all various drugs, of course, and the creative ways in which they do that. A travel story that doesn't involve smuggling, but is also kind of weird. A woman in Burbank, this is in California. There's LAX, the giant airport in Los Angeles, and then there's Burbank, the smaller one that's way easier to deal with if you ever got to fly in or out of LA. And a woman flew into Hollywood Burbank Airport and got off and waited at the baggage claim for her suitcase, and it did not come eventually. And so she went to the airline and reported it missing, and they said, well, hang on, let's see if we can find it. They said, oh, it's actually in Denver. No, and then a couple days later, it's like, no, your suitcase ended up in Dallas, but we've got it. We're tracking it. Then goes back to Denver. 5 days later, it ends up back in Burbank, where it belongs, where she lives. Took 5 days to get it back where it was supposed to go.
Wow.
And so she gets a notification, the bag is being delivered to your home. She's like, thank God. She has an Apple AirTag in her bag that allows her to track it. And then she recognizes that it's actually not near her neighborhood. It's in Hollywood. She sees it traveling slowly down Western Avenue. It ends up at the corner of Santa Monica and Western, downtown Los Angeles. She drives over there. It's a homeless encampment. That's where her suitcase is.
Yes.
She's in shock. She finds somebody with a lot of her items, and he says, I just bought it from a dude.
At the airport?
At the airport.
Oh, all right.
Someone drove it there and sold it to someone in the homeless encampment. Somebody got her bag at the airport and just immediately took it to where a bunch of homeless people were and said, does anybody have any money for this suitcase? I don't know what's in it.
Well, there's the blind spot for the terrorist, I guess. You can just walk into any luggage area in an airport, unsupervised, grab some luggage. You could leave, like, say, a luggage full of bombs or something. Here she is talking about it.
When the carrier called me and he said he was at my house, and I looked and I saw my AirTag trickling down Western Avenue very slowly, like no direction, really. I knew intuitively something was wrong. Something was way off. I had jewelry, medicine, bags I bought from Bali and Peru. In this homeless van, my toiletry bag was flipped upside down, completely empty, makeup bag empty, just ransacked through my stuff. Sometime between midnight and 7 a.m., my bag wound up in Homeless Town, Hollywood.
Homeless Town, Hollywood. It has a name.
I smell a new reality show like Storage Wars.
Yeah.
What do you do with suitcases?
Let's go out and steal some suitcases today.
Yeah.
I have had delayed luggage in the past, and I've gone, you wait, and then you go to the airlines, but there's an office there near baggage claim, their luggage office, baggage claim, whatever, and you go in, you file, and you fill out the thing, and you say it. They give you that placard, and you say, it looks like this. It's this size suitcase, and it has this. And then sometimes you look out, and there's bags that are just, they're just in a line. They're stuck, and it's like, oh wait, it's right there. It came in on an earlier flight somehow. You check your bag a few hours ahead, but it gets on the first flight in. And I have gone up to that. I've been waiting in line to get a bag, and I see mine, and I just went and grabbed it and walked away with it. And of course, I do that, and I'm like, I could be anybody.
Yep.
No one is stopping me from doing this. And for that matter, when you're at the carousel, you grab your bag, you leave.
Off you go.
There are a few airports I've been to, and someone says, "Can I see your baggage line?" They check the slip to make sure you have the right bag. And every time that happens, I'm like, that's so nice. Thank you for making sure that I have the right suitcase and that no one's walking out with mine. But the 99% of the times I've ever flown, nobody checks to see that you have the right bag.
So you can drive up to Arrivals, drop your friend off at Arrivals. It sometimes happens, but you pull up to Arrivals, drop your friend off. They go in, they just grab a bag off the carousel, maybe before everyone gets down there or standing around, grabs the bag while your friend takes a lap around, comes back around, picks you up, and it's easy. Come to think of it, it sounds rather easy. I remember in Denver, our luggage didn't make it, and so we went and did our thing. There was a snowstorm and delayed flights, and we ended up on a different flight. End of the story is a few days later, they call us, your luggage is here. We get out there, and there are hundreds of bags just stacked up outside the little baggage area there. And the lady said, just find yours and take it. Okay, I just went through the bags, and there it is. And I remember looking over at her like, this is ours. And she's like, okay, nice. Just get out of here.
Yeah, thanks. It is one of those things you just think about. Like it's kind of like the mail. You drop a letter off in a mailbox, 99% of the time it gets where it's supposed to go. It really is. And the luggage thing, same thing. 99% of the time, people grab the right bag. It's kind of amazing that it doesn't happen more often. Like you just said, like you could just walk it. Now I'm just thinking, I'm never checking a bag again. What am I, crazy? I've gotten away with it all these years.
What kind of deal are you getting down at the homeless camp, the Hollywood homeless city there for a bag? I guess it's whatever you need.
Imagine.
The right kind of drugs or something.
It's probably not a money thing. It's all just stolen goods. It's like, I'm looking for a shoulder bag. You've got a suitcase. Let's just swap. Could be. I don't know.
A little barter thing going on there.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, June the 20th. Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. What's that song worth? About $80 million?
At least. What did the...
just trying to come per capita. Queen just sold their rights. Yeah. Queen has sold their catalog to Sony Music for just under $1.3 billion for the whole catalog.
Yeah. We've been talking about the Xcel Energy Center has been ponying up a few $1 million for about 20-some years for the naming rights over there in St. Paul. And they may not have it again. They may get it again, and maybe another company that outbids them. What companies would attach to what Queen songs? Maybe we'll ponder that for a little bit later on this morning. Like Fat Bottom Girls, what would you sell there? I mean, what's that? You're using that in an ad now?
Preparation H.
Wow.
Perhaps.
I don't have hemorrhoids, but I'd buy it just because of the Queen song. I'm like, I feel like I should have it in case my fat bottom needs it.
$1.3 billion for a catalog that, 90% of that was recorded over 40 years ago. That's good work if you can get it.
Right, exactly. Man,
that is an astounding amount of money. I totally, it's worth every penny, I'm sure, because, there's a big wide world out there, and we might not see a lot of TV ads all of a sudden with Fat Bottom Girls or We Are the Champions or a crazy little thing called Love. But let me tell you something, all the other markets in the world, we were talking about this earlier, Zep, you and I off mic, but people have been long story short, remember the movie Lost in Translation?
Yeah, sure.
Bill Murray is the aging actor, and he's in Japan doing a whiskey ad.
Yep.
I went to Japan in 1992, and I saw famous actors in ads all over the place. They would have never done those in the States. You never saw Jack Nicholson on a billboard in America, but you went to Japan and there he is with a whiskey, and you're like, wait, what's happening here? Jack Nicholson is in a whiskey ad? It was very real. Like that was exactly what a lot of people would do. You sell out overseas and then maintain the rep here at home. Selling out used to be a thing people were concerned with. No one cares now.
Which is kind of bizarre since, the United States, I believe, kind of led the whole marketing thing post World War II. We launched what is known as worldwide branding and marketing now. But yeah, we didn't want our artists to sell out. And I think back on it's kind of silly now. But yeah, I mean it's now they don't have to do it in shame and run off to another country and do it. But yeah, I was over there and I saw Bon Jovi. I mean, this is still when Bon Jovi was cranking out hits in the 90s. I mean, probably past their prime, but just past their prime. Still a pretty big deal. And, yeah, they're over there doing television commercials. And I thought, what a sellout. But, yeah,
I remember Iggy Pop was asked about, was it Lust for Life? Or some Iggy Pop song was in a TV ad.
Yeah.
And they were like, how do you justify that? And he said, he goes, well, I wrote it 25 years ago. The last thing on my mind was Coca-Cola or whatever the product was. He goes, I wrote that song with pure intent. And 25 years later, I'm not the same person. And someone's like, do you want $1 million for something you did 25 years ago? He goes, what kind of idiot would say no? And it's like, there is a point where you're like, yeah, no kidding. Like the Sex Pistols did a reunion tour once, and Johnny Rotten was a journalist goes, you said you guys would never, you couldn't agree on a single thing. He goes, well, we finally found the one thing we all agreed on that made it worthwhile. And the journalist goes, what? And he said, your money.
Your money.
It's like, yeah, at the end of the day, get over it.
I kind of feel silly that it was a big deal back in the day that, they were a sellout. I remember probably saying that about some artists that I dig, but I look back on it now, who amongst us wouldn't for just a pittance of any of that
I look
money?
at it like if an artist is if you're going to make a stand and you stick with it, that's great. It doesn't matter. Like we talked about REM last week, they got in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. They've done things their own way from day one, but that was that was their rules. I promise you, they don't care what someone else does. Nope. They're not judging anyone else for they have their set of what their ethics are that they agreed on, and they stuck to it. Awesome. It doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and sell to the highest bidder. They're not gonna, but they don't give a crap what someone else does.
Never applies to the fans, though, does it?
Yeah, no. I've been in a lot of those conversations over the years and watched people talk out of both sides of their mouth, and it's just at the end of the day, it's like just do what you're gonna do. And just don't worry about it.
Right.
Like it's just, it's a whole story for another day. Anyway, I wrote a book about my band called The Life and Death of the Black Crows. Check it out sometime.
It's available on Amazon, I believe.
Wherever you want it, man. You can find that bad boy. The Xcel Energy Center will be renamed imminently. There's going to be a new moniker, and we were suggesting a few things. I thought Spam Center made perfect sense. Just go straight to the source.
Still kind of my favorite one. There was a good one in there about, but it wasn't attached to a business.
What is it?
Something mediocrity. I forgot what it was earlier.
Oh, the House of Mediocrity.
Yeah, just the House of Mediocrity. But
there was this one. Joe on the Facebook page wrote the Xcel Energy Center. Just call it the X for short. That's pretty good.
That's
the
great.
XXL. I like that one. Land O'Lakes got a lot of votes. I still think my favorite from Ang on the Facebook page was Heggy's House of Hockey.
That's a great one.
That's a pretty good one. I'm digging that one. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk or text line. Text us in your suggestions for what to call the XL. Because I think we did establish the KQRS House of Rock is not going to happen.
Probably not going to be able to pony up.
$3 or $4 million per year price tag is going to be a little steep.
Yeah, right. Probably.
Damn it.
Again, I don't know. I think we could put that money someplace better, like my bank account.
The best drinking songs, interestingly enough, whiskey retailer Flask and Barrel has released a list of their top 10 drinking songs. And AC/DC has 4 of the top 10, according to Flask and Barrel whiskey retailer.
That checks out, yeah.
That completely checks out. Number 1 on the list, Thunderstruck.
You've been thunderstruck. I mean,
why not?
I mean, first of all, just a drinking song would happen to be the song that's on while I'm drinking. I don't know that I need motivation, but yeah, Thunderstruck. That's a great one.
It enhances the experience.
Yeah, that's got like tailgate written all over it, because it kind of doubles as, the Vikings here, man. We're going to let Thunderstruck on the pack, and you're drinking and boozing. That's a winner.
There is a Thunderstruck drinking game that involves 32 drinks during the song. Is that? Ryder, can you lend a little, illuminate this for us?
You all don't know about the Thunderstruck drinking game?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, so when we were talking about hangovers, the nurse texted in and we had some cures and they were like, those might kill you. Don't ever do them. And I think Thomas is probably going to say the same thing about this drinking game. But during the song Thunderstruck, Brian Johnson says thunder 32 times.
Okay.
And every time he says thunder, you're supposed to take a big old swig of your beer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I've made it past the first verse. And I am a pretty seasoned drinker. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
sounds like a challenge to me. Let's whoever. All right, let's do this on the karaoke cruise. Someone fire up Thunderstruck, and we'll get the boat going here, and we'll get a good old fashioned drinking game started.
Yes,
what's
make
the
it a
record
shot,
number
not
of
a
people?
sip.
Yeah, what's the record number of people puking on one boat at the same time?
I don't really want to find out tomorrow night.
We're going to set it.
All right.
I think that record is usually more, not number, but it's percentage of people on the boat, and the record is all of them. There's been at least one boat trip where everyone puked somewhere in the world, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure, probably.
Number 2 on the list, Thunderstruck number 1, then Highway to Hell at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Back in Black and You Shook Me All Night Long also come in at number 4 and number 8.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, drinking song is really, it's just whatever's on when you're in the mood, I guess.
I'm kind of liking the background music. This makes me want to drink.
Sweet Home Alabama is on the list. I get that. It just makes you feel swampy and therefore thirsty.
Just pretty much any Skinnerd.
Eagles Hotel California. You're gonna think about what, tequila and a margarita?
Absinthe.
Absinthe. CCR's Fortunate Son. Really?
That's a shotgun and beer song. It's about what, 2 minutes 20 seconds long.
You got to get in there quick. You got to hit it and quit it. Right. Fleetwood Mac's Dreams is a drinking song.
That's a breakup drinking song.
Or Crisp Chablis.
Yeah. Or I guess or something with cranberry now. Cranberry and vodka would have to be the drink. Journey's Don't Stop Believin'. Not sure really how that factors in as a drinking song.
Sure. Okay.
And number 10 on the list is the most surprising one. That would be Toto's Africa, which maybe it's you're drinking to forget.
Right. To get the song out of your head. Yeah.
It's got a powerful chorus. If you're drunk, you wail on that.
But what are the actual words?
It's I
guess the rains. Is that what he's saying?
No, I bless the rains.
I bless the rains. I bless the rains down in Africa.
The rains down
Huh.
Wow, that does not inspire me to want to drink, I guess.
No, it really
I said, unless it's just to get it out of my head.
That must be Whiskey Retailer Flask and Barrel. They must have... There must be a Lukather on that board of that Whiskey Realtor. Let's get a Toto song in there.
Is that his son in your band, Bagman?
That's what they say. That's what they say. Lukather, whatever. It's an easy mistake. It can be made. Here's another thing. Let's just completely move away from drinking songs because, again, I think we can all agree. The great drinking song is whatever song's on when you're drinking.
Yeah, George Thorogood, I Drink Alone. There's your...
You're somewhere. How many times have you been somewhere and said these words out loud? I just never really cared about this song, but it sounds pretty good right now. That's because anytime you're drinking, you're like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. Oh, my God, whatever happened to Flock of Seagulls? You hear yourself say the craziest things.
That's right. I haven't heard this in such a long time.
I never liked
this song.
I didn't like it when it was out for real, but now, I mean, God, I don't know. I mean, Dirty Laundry, I just never thought I'd come around on it. I've always hated Dirty Laundry. There's not enough alcohol to make me enjoy that song. Boys of Summer all day long. Give it to me.
Yeah.
But you ever meet someone and this is, by the way, this is a rhetorical question. You ever meet someone, hear their name, and then immediately forget about it? The answer is yes. Everyone I've ever met.
Yeah, I'm about to experience that on a boat Friday.
I am so bad with names, and I have done all of the things people say to remember someone's name when you first meet them, and it escapes me. I mean, I don't know that I have ADHD or whatever, but I always have like 6 different thoughts going at once.
Yeah.
But I will claim ADHD if that gets me off the hook for never remembering someone's name. Yeah. I can remember the entire conversation. I'll remember exactly what we talked about. I'll remember something they mentioned. I'll remember what the person was wearing. I'll remember everything but the person's name. It is, and it's really, this is not just me trying to be, no, it really, I would do anything to change that. I hate when I have to ask, but I did finally at some point 20 years ago, I finally just got over it and said, I'm sorry, tell me your name. I mean, I will just now ask.
Right.
Whereas I used to pretend I knew their name, and I'd say things like, there he is. Like,
hey, you,
Junior, big guy, senator.
Hey, this guy.
You know.
It's my old friend, you.
I have the thing with my wife, which we had to go over this. This goes back to the 90s. There were always somebody that I had met like the promo guy in Cleveland. And then the next time I'm in Cleveland, I'm like, yeah, we had a great time, but I don't remember this guy's name. And I would say to my wife, I say, if I introduce you, I say, this is my girlfriend or this is my wife, Rosemary.
Right.
If I don't immediately say their name, that means I don't remember, and I'm probably going to cough.
Yeah, that's the cue.
And I'll be like, I'll say, hey, have you met Rosemary? Sorry. And then she'll go up and, sorry, what's your name? And then the person goes, I'm Dave. And I'm like, yeah, Rosemary, Dave. I told you about Dave. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Did you ever, on the way to an event like this, get into a little tiff with her and she left you hanging? Just because, there's the cough, you're not getting it.
Oh, God,
yeah. Just left you hanging.
Take a lozenge, honey.
I've been in relationships only because they would do something like that. They'd be like, okay. So my rule was if they come up and I don't introduce you right away, and they say, hey, Zep, how's it going? And I don't say, hey, so-and-so, this is so-and-so. That means I don't remember their name. And why don't you just jump in and say, and then, but I've been on dates where they wouldn't do that. And I'm like, this isn't going to work out.
Maybe because you made it a rule.
Yeah, I don't have many. I have that one, and anyway.
But rule number 1: save a drowning man. How hard is it?
Yeah, that's right. So, but you have some tips here because
4 steps they say. 4. These are maybe 5. First, this isn't considered one of the steps, but they do recommend. First of all, you really got to focus. You got to hear what they say. So number 1 is repeat the name. When someone says, "Hey, I'm Steve," then you. Sorry, say that again. Or if it's an unusual name, it's really easy because you say, can you spell that for me? I can't imagine myself meeting someone and then saying, how do you spell that one? I mean, if they said their name was Hergitaby, okay, sure. I'm sorry, what? Hergitaby? Hergitaby? How do you say that? How do you spell that? What is that? Is that Hungarian? I get that.
Did you just make that name up?
I did. I don't even.
You don't even remember it now, do you?
I don't. Hergita. I said Hergita.
Spell
purgatory.
Purgatory.
Hergitaby. That's it. Hergitaby. If it's not something, but see, if it's someone if someone says Tammy, there's a bunch of different ways to spell Tammy.
Okay.
So that one, you can go, how do you spell that? Oh, I knew someone that was Tami. I knew someone, maybe. And maybe, but a few times, repeating the name a couple times when, Dave, okay, you're Dave. Oh, good to meet you, Dave. Right on, Dave. I mean, I guess that helps, but I don't know that I could ever say that without looking like I'm trying to make sure I remember the name. But again, that's fine. Why would that stop me from doing it? I'm trying to remember your name, you would think, but I would still hold myself back from repeating their name several times. I should just get over it. How about this? Number 2, it says, think of someone else with the same name. It could be a celebrity or just someone you knew in high school. If you link the name with somebody who's already a part of your long-term memory, it helps you to remember it.
What if you use their TV name? You're like, good to see you again, Gilligan. Bob. Oh, Bob. Yeah,
ooh, I see that.
I feel like there would just be these long pauses after, hey, I'm Steve. Everything all right? Hold on, I'm trying to memorize your name. Hold on, so it's Steve. All right, doing a word association.
Hi, I'm Steve. I immediately think of a car with its roof smashed off from bullets starring Steve McQueen. I'll never forget it. That's not how it works.
You're fastback. No, wait, that's not
happen.
It.
Number 3, think of something it rhymes with. So you shouldn't always choose the
Tony
first.
Baloney.
Don't always choose the first rhyme that pops in your head. The crazier the rhyme is, the better your chances of remembering it. So actually, that's a good one, Tony Baloney.
What rhymes with Hergitaby?
Hergitaby is Smirkitaby. Hergitaby, Smirkitaby. Purgatory. I feel like I'm in purgatory having a conversation with you, Hergitaby.
Say my name.
Here's what I do on like say, for instance, the karaoke cruise tomorrow night.
Right.
We'll be out there. I just say Scott for men and Lisa for women, and I'm right half the time. That's it. Just Lisa. No?
Oh man.
The sister. No?
No, it's funny. I do, like I said, I remember faces and I remember things that we talk about, but the name is tricky. And again, ahead of the cruise tomorrow night, for and I'm just gonna add, hey, tell me your name again. Sorry, just get used to it because man, it's but eventually it sticks.
Yeah.
But like Johnny, the bassist in the Black Crowes, when we first started the band, he was and he would be the first to tell you, he's total scatterbrain, can't keep a thought straight, linear doesn't work in his brain. That dude remembers everybody's name he ever met. It's one of those things I used to be so in awe of. I'd be like, hey, Johnny, who's this guy? He was here last time we played. In Seattle for the second time ever, and he'd be like, that's Mike and Corey and Hergadaby. And I'd be like, how in the world do you remember these names?
He will have 1,000 people at his funeral for two reasons. You're in awe. That he's just great to hang out with because he knows their name.
Yeah.
And then if you know someone's name, like every once in a while I've just guessed. I'll be like, Dan, it's been a year, man. You meet a lot of people. That's really cool. You remember my name. So people love to have their name remembered.
I remember that I get away with that though because again they're offended that I don't remember their name, but then I will say, but you have your Uncle Charlie threw that 300 in Toledo, and they'll be like, oh my God, like that's the thing. I remember the bizarre thing we talked about, everything but the most important part of the conversation, which is the person's name.
I just buy him a drink. It costs me a lot of money.
I met I remember one time I met a woman. She was working with the record company, doing something great. We had a really nice chat, and she was wonderful, really. And I probably saw her a year later. She was like, "Hey," and I go, "Hey, what's going on?" And I said, "You still dating Dave?" And she was like, "No, we broke up." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then later in the conversation, she goes, "You don't remember my name, do you?" And I go, "No." She goes, "You remembered I had a guy named Dave, but you don't remember my name." It was this whole thing, and I was like, "Yeah, sorry." Sorry, it's just the things you remember. Hey,
it's not personal.
Yeah, you had a crush on Mr. Green Jeans as a child. I remember we were drunk. You admitted it. She's like, "Oh my God." But you don't know my name. Hey, whatever.
What's your face?
These things happen.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, remind yourself. Repeat the name. Think of someone else with the same name. Think of something that rhymes with. Find something unusual about the person is number 4. If his name is Fred and he has big ears, remember him as Big Ear Fred. And it
don't
says,
spit that out, though.
This sounds ridiculous. It might even be mean, but it gives you that extra mental trigger so you'll remember the Fred part. I've seen a thing where a guy took a deck of cards and he peeled over every card and then remembered all 52 in order. And because he would attach something to each thing and somehow pull that out, and I look at that and just go, stop, forget it.
Want to go play some blackjack at one of the casinos with me?
I also saw something recently that said if you take a deck of cards and you shuffle it, and shuffle it and shuffle it, and then lay them out in order, that order of cards has never been dealt before.
I think I read something.
The number 52 cards, the likelihood that anybody could ever possibly shuffle them in the same order is beyond grains of sand in the universe. It's in the hundreds of numbers in a number, one in however many chances. It's really astonishing, like beyond what you can even possibly process number-wise. That just, I was like, really? Huh. And then I'm still trying to figure out how you did one little tiny card trick.
Right, exactly. How did you know it was the 3 of clubs?
I saw, and again, speaking of card trick, I thought that because I just saw a guy on Instagram, and he showed a pretty basic kind of card trick and showed how it was done. And I was happy to know, but then I was kind of just bummed out because I'm like, I don't want to know that you actually just lied.
It's a trick.
Yeah,
he tricked you.
I like the David Blaine thing where the card is somehow in an orange that's never been peeled.
Right.
I don't like it. I don't like that I just turned it upside down on the deck when you weren't looking. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Give me something a little better than that.
No, you didn't pay. If you didn't pay for the ticket, you're just going to get a bar trick.
I guess not. I would have been happy I would have been happy to keep the mystery alive. Like the mystery that is, I'm sorry, your name again, sir? It's just what it is. I have to accept it.
Brian.
I'm never going to figure it out. At this point, look, I'm going to be 59 in August. Is it too old to truly learn how to remember names?
Well, no. I mean, if you apply yourself, it's too old to apply to want to care about remembering someone's name, probably. Of course, you have the capacity to learn it, but do you want to anymore?
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to get less information in my brain. Like, you know what I mean? Like
unclutter.
I think if let's assume if I'm lucky, I'm 2/3 of the way through. The first third is you're just kind of like, it's cool, and then the second third you focus and you make sense of it and you figure out your way in the world.
Climb the mountain.
And then the third is like just less, just less.
Leave me alone.
I need less information.
I'm busy tonight.
Just need more drinking songs and less names. That's what I need. That's what's going to make me happy here. Speaking of names, Wendy Mayberry is a very, very funny comic. She's going to be with us at 9:25 here in the studio.
Yeah.
Looking forward to catching up with old Wendy Mayberry. And we also have to come up with a new name for the Xcel Energy Center. And as long as we're here, how about some old slang terms? I think it's time we bring back into the lexicon. I've been trying to reintroduce Hell's Bells for years. Every time I hear the song Hell's Bells, I go, I got to start saying that more often. Hell's Bells, I keep forgetting to say Hell's Bells.
Yeah.
See, it's easy, but I forget. But we got some other ones we need to bring back. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, June 20th. That was The Scorpions.
Yeah.
That was the breakthrough in America. No One Like You, 1982. 17 years later.
Yeah.
The band started in 1965. That's when the Scorpions were formed. 1965. They're going on the road next year to celebrate 60 years. That's a lot of German rock. 60 years of Scorpions.
Yeah.
You were a fan back in the days.
Oh, big fan. You know, it was, what was the album with, was No One Like You? Was it? It's been a while. The guy's on there with the head wrap and he's got the forks in his eyes.
That's it. That's
the one. Yeah, that's when I just bought albums based on album covers. I would
Of
go,
course.
Mental Health. Or Mental Health.
Blackout was the name of that album.
Blackout, that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember it was Love at First Sting or Blackout. That's right, Blackout. And that was it. I just saw the album cover and I'm like, I'm getting that. Quiet Riot, Mental Health.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a straight jacket. He's got the iron mask on. I'm getting that. But, the Scorps, I still am to a degree.
Sure.
But
Scorps.
Yeah, but there for a while, they were the tip of the pyramid for me. Scorpions, Judas Priest.
Kid I knew, Joe Chestnut, also had an astounding album collection solely based on the artwork.
Yeah.
He had albums that he had never heard, never opened. He just loved the cover.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good time when album artwork would be enough to make you buy a record.
Like if you'd pick out cereal for the prize that was inside.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember being in there and I was like, Night Ranger, Dawn Patrol. Look at those. Those are satellite dishes shooting lasers. I had no idea. Don't Tell You May Love Me was on there. And all of a sudden, Sister Christian, like they're the biggest band in the world. And I'm like, I got the album right here. Have you seen Dawn Patrol? Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. I remember looking at the mall. Not the record bar, but the other Sound Shop. It was called the Sound Shop, the mall record store. And I'm flipping through records, and my mom was with me, and I pulled out AC/DC, If You Want Blood. Yeah. And, it's like the back cover is Angus. It's like the guitar neck has killed him. It's sticking out. And I was like, whoa. And my mom goes, you put that down.
Yeah.
Like, that is not entering our house. That's just the image alone. She's like, no.
That was Mom. Remember, you mentioned Hell's Bells before the break, and that was Mom. I picked up Hell's Bells. I had the AC/DC here, and I turned it over, and I went Hell's Bells, and Mom said, no, put it back.
Oh, man.
We're not having the HE double hockey sticks.
That's it. You and I shared an experience, Zep, where we had the Kiss Alive 2.
Yes.
That gatefold,
is that the greatest? That's
the greatest photo ever.
Yeah. You talk about staring at a cereal box, Tony. I probably stared at that thing and studied every little micro centimeter of that thing for days and hours and weeks.
All the while doing what everyone on Earth did with Kiss Alive 2, which is you listen to the 3 sides of the album that are live and side 4 of all new songs.
That's right.
Never, ever saw the needle of my turntable.
No.
I don't know a single person that ever heard side 4 of Kiss Alive 2.
Nope.
I bet you anything. Go to a used record store anywhere in the world and pick up a Kiss Alive 2, and sides 1, 2, and 3 are worn out, and side 4 is pristine.
The needle will just slide across side 2 or 3, but side 4, fresh grooves.
Haven't thought about that one in forever, but that's really what it is. It's like, wait, what do you mean? There's some new songs that aren't live? Who cares?
Yeah.
I need to hear. I need to hear the screams of that audience and your overdubbed backup vocals.
Yeah.
I'm looking up the songs at the end. All American Man, Rockin' in the USA, Larger Than Life, Rocket Ride, Any Way You Want It. Don't know how any of those songs go. No, sorry. Oh well, something had to go, and it was those. Back in the old days, back in the old days of the 70s, we used to say things like "cool." That was a hip term. Oh, man, he's cool.
Far out.
What was the lingo? And then Happy Days kept, all of a sudden the word nerd came back in because of Happy Days. Yeah. These things happen, but we go through slang terms and then we move on from them. I'm looking at a list of slang terms to bring back. I already mentioned, as you said, hell's bells. I just want to bring it back. It was never really an American term. Other parts of the world would say, hell's bells. But I like that one. Giggle mug is a word. Someone who smiles too much, constantly has a grin on their face. We have all known a giggle mug. Scott Evans, Robbie Welliford. There's two that I went to school with. Both giggle mugs. They always had a grin.
Lowell Punt.
Like, what are you laughing at? Nothing?
No, but... Yeah, I often think back to Lowell Punt, and wherever you are out there, Lowell, somewhere in the world, maybe you've drifted over to Minnesota. I'd love to hear from you. But, yeah, he just laughed at everything, and he had a great snickery kind of almost cartoon laugh.
Kind of hyena-like.
I just want him in a corner of a radio show I'm doing. Just sit over there about 2 feet away from a microphone and just laugh at everything.
Lowell Punt.
Lowell Punt is his name.
What? That sounds like a character Billy Bob Thornton would play in a movie. Lowell Punt. What a name. That's great.
Great one.
How about this? Sauce box. A term for someone's mouth. Shut your sauce box.
I like that.
I like it.
Sauce box.
It's better than pie hole.
I do like that. I'm gonna use that one on the boat a lot.
Sauce box.
That's sauce box.
Yeah, sauce box to me would be that's the mouth of someone who's drinking copious amounts of alcohol. But no, just straight up, shut your sauce box, kid. Like, go get your shine box. That's a shine box. That's a literal shine box. Yeah. An old British term for a drunk person is arf, arf, and arf. Arf, arf, and arf. Don't give him another beer. He's already arf, arf, and arf.
Arf, arf, and arf.
The term comes from a drink called an arf and arf that's half beer, half ale. Well, you're splitting hairs when you're like, is that a beer or an ale? Just give it to me.
Yeah,
just let me drink it.
Cold.
Somebody who's greedy and pompous is a pumblechook. Pumblechook.
Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, it could be better. Just a pumchuck would be better.
Yeah,
or just a chook.
D-bag.
A term for someone's legs when their pants are too tight. Gas pipes. That's pretty good. Right. Look at that hipster with his dumb gas pipes. I like that one. There was a kid at our school, and her dad was a very. Looking back now, I'm kind of astonished. It was what was her name? Lisa somebody. Her parents would come into the basketball game. She was a cheerleader. And her dad was the thinnest adult man I've probably ever known. And he would be sitting in the bleachers, and so his pant legs would be riding up a little bit. You know, the way you sit and your feet are out in front of you, and his pants would ride up, and he was always wearing boots, but his legs were way skinnier than like the boot. There was always he looked like he was wearing oversized boots, but he wasn't. He was just such a thin person.
Wow.
And I remember, and I said something one time about that, and what I said was, his legs in those boots, it looks like a toothpick and a banana peel. I said that out loud. And she his daughter heard me say that, and that girl hated me for the rest of my life. To this day, she's somewhere going, I hate that Steve Gorman.
I like that she's protective about her dear old pops, but it wasn't, as far as derogatory statements, that's on the light list.
Could have been a lot worse.
I went to school with a guy whose legs are so skinny he had to use rubber bands to hold his tube socks up.
That's not
seriously.
True.
Yeah,
no cabs.
It was Scott Height, and he was 6'9".
6'9", Scott Height. I love it. That's perfect.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, pretty
rubber
cool.
bands.
I like this. Here's an old slang expression. Acknowledge the corn. Which is this is like from the 1800s, to admit the truth or to confess to something. Hey man, sooner or later we all have to acknowledge the corn.
There is no corn there. I do not see corn.
He acknowledged the corn, finally admitting he was drunk that night. Acknowledge the corn. What in the world?
Yeah, it sounds like something I'd do to my brother, shoving his face into like a bowl of corn. Right. Acknowledge the corn.
Man, that's
Acknowledge the corn, Chris, and it's all over. Just say uncle. Acknowledge the corn.
That's great. I like that one. A long knife used to be known as an Arkansas toothpick.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You hear that like in old Clint Eastwood movies.
To beat all or beat the devil, they called that beat the Dutch. Of all I've ever heard of, that one sure beats the Dutch.
Oh, all right.
How hard was it to beat the Dutch? They're very peaceful people. They're like, look what we did with our waterways.
Yeah, no.
Ow! Why are you hitting me? I mean, they're Dutch. They don't care.
Germany didn't have much trouble with them.
No,
we walked
totally
through that
cool.
country. Yeah.
Come on through. Just leave it like you found it, would you? We all know this isn't going to last. Just be cool about it. Here's another good one for being drunk: a brick in one's hat. You'd say like, oh man, that dude had a brick in his hat. A brick in his hat.
All right.
One of my favorite expressions for drunk is tore slap up. That's a southern one. Oh man, I was tore slap up. The more you say it, the less sense it makes, which is that's why it's so perfect. He was tore slap up. I don't know about a brick in someone's hat, but somebody found a brick off the coast of the Florida Keys. Check this out. Recreational boaters. I mean, which really aren't we all? Found $1 million worth of cocaine floating in the ocean right off of the Keys. A post on Twitter, or now X, acting chief patrol of the U.S. Border Patrol said a few good Samaritans in the community, they came across 21 individually wrapped kilograms of suspected cocaine. 7 miles off of Isla Mirada, Florida.
And they turned all that in.
The packages were emblazoned with an image of a bald eagle. So it's American cocaine, I guess is what they're trying to say.
Sure. Destined for America. All right. Well, I mean, I guess good for them.
They turned in 21. But we don't know how many they found.
Right. I mean, are you just trying to make it look good? Is it one of those where they kind of came up on your boat like, oh, good, I'm glad you guys are here, Coast Guard. Thank God we gathered all these up for you. And it was like their third trip out there.
That's what I'm saying. I'm always curious about that. Like, what would you do? And the problem I would have, forget the moral, ethical, this or that and the other. Let's say you just come across, you're on your boat, and you come across, you're on the pontoon, you're on Minnetonka, you're having a beautiful June afternoon.
And a brick of cocaine comes floating up in...
What are all those little individually wrapped bundles? I wonder what those are. It's not like any of us know what to do with it other than turn it in. How do you fence a bunch of coke?
Who said anything about fencing it?
Okay, well that's a whole different argument.
After party at my place. Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't know where really to start, and I feel like I know a guy that knows a guy, but yeah, I would hate to start that conversation.
Well, we all know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
And we all know a guy who knew a guy. And there's no question about that. Right. Somewhere in your life, you know someone who knew someone who once.
Oh, yeah.
But like to your point, but that game of telephone that you're starting when you go, hey, do you remember at that time when we were at that party and you offered me something? Do you have any idea where that came from? Like, how do you even start that conversation? I don't know. I think I got like, I don't know, a retirement fund right here. But it's probably best just to turn it in.
Do I watch Ozark? What did they do? How'd that work out?
Let's see. Last I checked, everyone died except for Jason Bateman and his family. Somehow they came clear.
What's the one? I never saw the end of Blow. How did that turn out?
Bunch of dead people.
All right. Okay. There's got to be one where there's a happy ending. Scarface?
Scarface ended well.
Did it?
I never saw the last 30 minutes, but he was doing great. He was doing great when I turned it off.
He had the cocaine, he had the money, he had the power.
You're like like a bird, a little Baltimore Oriole. Tony, why do you screw me, Tony? Man, if you do figure out how to fence that big brick of cocaine, though, you might find yourself with a lot of cash, and then you think to yourself, maybe it's time I finally got that Ferrari I always wanted.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself in that situation and you're worried about, carbon, you're worried about the
climate, carbon offset. Yeah.
Thank you. Then good news for you is Ferrari now has an electrical vehicle that's coming out. Their electric vehicle will be hitting the market soon. Going to cost you about $535,000 to drive the Ferrari electric vehicle.
That sounds about right. That does not shock me, because you use the F word there. And then, Ferrari.
For the first one, currently the average price of a Ferrari is $376,000. But the electric one, again, $535,000. So you can prove to your neighbors, yes, I have a Ferrari, and yes, I care more about the planet than you do. By the way, Lamborghini also has one that's going to roll off the assembly line in 2028. The entire reason to drive a Ferrari or a Lamborghini is not to have it not be loud.
Yeah, no, right, exactly.
I don't understand.
You want that rumble. Maybe they put it in there as sort of a sound effect or something.
Have you
like
ever
that.
driven either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini?
I have not.
I have driven a Lamborghini.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yes. A guy I knew in Nashville years ago, when I was started doing local radio there, he was a roofer and he sponsored the show. He was one of my clients. He and a buddy started a high-end luxury car rental place in that downtown Nashville. You can rent. They had these insane amount of cars, and it's hundreds of dollars per hour.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to a boom town like Nashville and you want to go to the honky tonks and you want to pull up in a Lamborghini and you're willing to pay $250 an hour or whatever it was, you could do that. Well, I ran into him one day and he was telling me about the business. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. He goes, man, you should totally come in and check it out. And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, I mean, do you have like he goes, how old's your son now? And I was like, oh, he's in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Lamborghini time for him. And so I said, what do you got? And he told me he had, not only did he have a Lamborghini, it was purple. Oh. and I go, and he goes, come on, man. He goes, I'll just take it for 2 hours. It's yours. And then just, send me some,
hell yeah,
give me a referral on the radio or something. And I was like, oh, done. So on a Saturday afternoon, my son's in 7th grade. We drive downtown, we pull in, we get out, and I said, let's go. And he looked, it was the look on his face, like he was salivating.
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it. And I was like, now I'm the coolest dad ever. And we got into this Lamborghini, and the guy kind of showed me, a couple things about driving it because it's not like a normal car. It was sitting lower than any go-kart I've ever sat in.
Right.
I mean,
you're almost on your back.
My
right?
ass was 1 inch off the ground.
You pull up behind someone and you're looking right at their license plate.
Literally.
Yeah.
And we got in that thing, and I was like, this is so bizarre. And so we get on the highway, and my son's like, go, Dad, punch it. I'm like, hang on, I'm not going to, I'm not going to kill us, and I'm not going to get a ticket driving this car. But, yeah, we'll see what it's got under the hood. Do a little bit. But And Connell is like, everyone's looking at us. And I'm because everybody notices you in that car.
Sure. It's a purple Lambo.
But then what I realized was, and everyone's thinking, who's the douchebag driving the purple Lambo? That's every face is like, what kind of dumbass is that? It just felt
every
ridiculous.
one of them with the same offer on the table would have taken it. We talked about that band selling out thing.
No,
earlier.
it was hilarious. We had a great time. We drove down, got off the interstate, got off in a little kind of country lane, and I was flying around, and it handled great. It was a lot of fun. Pulled up outside the front. We went to the house though, and a neighbor comes by, and he's like, "Man, nice new car." I'm like, I'm in a Volvo wagon or the Lambo.
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
dude, it's not my new car. Trust me. And so then it was time to turn the car back in. And that evening, we got it late afternoon. Connell had a buddy at school who was having his bar mitzvah that day, and he goes, "Dad, you gotta drop me off at the bar mitzvah in this." And I was like, "Absolutely not." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, It's I don't remember which kid it was. He goes, it's his day, and we're gonna pull up to this this like teen rec center they've rented for the party, and you're gonna get out of a Lambo. Everyone's gonna assume it's him. I go, no, we can't do that. And he was like, I can't believe it. Come on. And I'm like, what's the big deal? And of course, he'd already told everybody.
Yeah.
Wait till you see what I pull up in. He's texting all.
You want to be
friends.
seen in? Yeah, I get it.
And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I can't. We didn't do it.
We learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah,
Steal someone else's thunder, man.
That's right. It's not your day.
What you want to do is pull up in front of a dollar store and walk in.
And then haggle with them.
As long as someone's calling me an a-hole at the end of the day, we will have done our job.
Well, they have those operations in Las Vegas, where you can rent those really wild cars.
Yeah.
You're talking about the plum Lambos and that sort of thing. And I always wanted to do that when I was out there because it's Vegas. You get on that straight strip of road. I forget what the highway's called, but it's hammer down and you're on your way out to Bakersfield or whatever. But, it was Vegas. I was always drunk, so I never got around to it. But I wanted to do it. Yeah, one of these days I'll get a sober day in Vegas.
All is not lost. Wendy Mayberry is a very, very funny comic, and she's going to join us in studio momentarily. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, June the 20th. Wendy Mayberry, by her own admission, is a comedian, speaker, and a mom living in the woods in Wisconsin. And as of right now, she's in studio with us. Good morning, Wendy.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well. You are a mom living in the woods in Wisconsin.
I am. We actually have our foxes back. We have a bear. We had a deer this morning. We got animals in our backyard.
Did you by any chance build your home with a hatchet and just the will of 10 men?
Although I watched a lot of episodes of Little House on the Prairie, I have no building skills.
Oh, nice. Okay. No.
How's the tick situation out there now?
Really bad. Yeah. It's super tiny, and they're like the size of a period, like on a typewriter.
Yeah.
And I've actually had to use my iPhone to be like, does that have legs?
Really?
That is a tick. It's really bad.
Instantly itching as soon as you said that, Zep. Nice. Yeah.
Thanks for bringing them in, too. That's
wow.
Great.
So, but no, we do have tick screening right at the front door. When we hear the word Wisconsin, we go, well, we it's like a TSA thing.
It was weird. I had to get naked. This isn't working. The metal detector's not working.
Chicks always fall for the tick check.
Yeah. That's always the winner.
Fall for it. I was going, are y'all gonna check?
Lean in, isn't that what they say?
That's right.
Can't get out of it, get into it.
Yeah.
So Wendy, what's going on with you? You're day drinking. You're a mom who is not afraid of a cocktail.
Not afraid. We have had day drinking with Mom, the show in the Minneapolis area for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And I came today to talk to you because we're going on tour. We're taking it national, and I need your advice.
Okay. You need my advice.
Well, you've done it before.
I've had a lot to drink during the day on tour. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I used to get paid to drink, in fact, is how I looked at it.
That's true.
Touring advice, I would say this: as long as you're not getting in a van with a bunch of 20-year-old dudes, you're going to be fine.
Check.
I mean, that's where I went wrong. Just a bunch of guys like me. It was destined to fail.
The smell had to be incredible.
Oh, awful. You know, we spent about 6 months in a Dodge Ram van and then parked it in Los Angeles and didn't open it for a year. And there was actually talk of an MTV contest where you would win our van as is. And there was fruit in it. There were half-empty, half-eaten sandwiches, socks. It was 6 months of 6 people in that van living, and then just shut in a hot part of the country for a year, and they were really cooking up this idea to give it away, and then there'd be a big thing when you open it and clean it up, and then it's cooler heads prevailed.
What if they had found like a roadie skeleton in there? Like, oh yeah.
Well, it would have been awesome.
That's what happened to Chet.
It would have been. It wouldn't have hurt the career. I can tell you that.
It would have been cool though if Pimp My Ride had offered to like fix up your van.
That would have been awesome. That would have
been really cool.
It's all about timing. Sure. So when does this tour start?
So we're hoping to start next year, but what's really cool is we're recording on June 30th at the Granada Theater in Uptown, and we're going to need some people with good giggles to be on our promo video. So basically,
I got you. Theater. So that's June 30th.
That's right. It's 7 o'clock at night, which should be very exciting. And Jessie Campbell is going to be with me. I'm teaming up with Jessie Campbell, who's been on Last Comic Standing, has 2 dry bars. She's super duper funny, and we both have kids, so we're taking our kids and we're going on tour. You brought your kids on tour, right? Or kid?
I 2 kids, and they did spend a lot of their childhood on the road. It was a calmer time for the band. On our first tour, that would have been very problematic. By the time the kids came along, it was more like, yeah, we're adults now. We're in our 30s. Looking back, we were not adults, but we thought we were. That was half the fun.
Did they like it?
They had a great time. Yeah.
Okay. We're excited.
And it's but I was talking about like I had babies and toddlers are very easy to take on tour.
Right.
By the time the kids were like 9 and 10 and they had the audacity to make friends and have their own interests, it was harder to get them out.
Okay, well, that's what age we're at. So we're hoping to book science museum cities.
Okay.
Stuff that they're going to be at zoos, we'll tie it up with like things the boys want to do.
You will find. So what ages are we talking about?
They're both 10.
Both 10. Yeah, it'll be okay. There's always because there is it's amazing how many science centers there are in the world. You just don't realize until you're like really got to do something with that kid.
It's true, and I have a membership to the Minnesota Science Museum, and it gives you reciprocity with all of these across the United States.
You're golden.
So yeah, I've already used it. Like I've already got all my value out of that.
No shortage of back when my kids, there were still DVDs. You had to think about like packing up. You were like making sure you had all that nonsense. And now, of course, you don't need to have any DVDs. You just hand them a phone and get out of the way.
We're good. They can Minecraft all the way across the country.
You, Wendy, as a mom with a kid, do you? I mean, it's a full-time job, as they say.
Yeah, it's an adventure. So it's me and Grayson. So it's definitely, we just this week went to, actually, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday we went and had allergy testing. That was our big thing with Grayson because he's have the sniffy, sneezy, coffee head fever, sleeping rest thing. Yeah. And I thought
that's a lot like Chauncey Gorman.
Yeah.
the beautiful pup at your feet right now.
At my feet, snoring.
That's him.
Yeah, and I thought it was a cat because it's all the time. And I thought it's going to be our cat. We love this cat. We got it from a rescue, from Rough Start Rescue here in Minneapolis. And we got it tested. Turns out he is allergic to dust.
Your son is allergic to dust.
Yeah, so I'm going to be rehoming him.
I noticed, no kidding. I've noticed dust pretty much everywhere I've ever gone.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do to keep that kid safe. It's real tough. I'm like, we're just going to get a bubble for him.
What do you do?
You are supposed to you're supposed to freeze your stuffed animals every 2 weeks to get the dust mites dead. You're supposed to, which he was unhappy about. He's like, are they going to die? And I just gave him a look like, are they alive? We need to talk. Anyway, we got bigger problems. But wrap your mattress, vacuum, I don't know, the air purifier. Keep the window shut.
Oh, man. All those air purifier, you see those ads? You look at one, you look for like a room fan, and then all of a sudden you're getting inundated with air purifier ads. And I look at those and I'm like, do those really do anything? Because for years lived in an old house and the HVAC you could just feel the dust building no matter what you did, no matter how often you change the filters. But I guess you're about to find out if those things actually work.
I think it's one of those situations where he needs to get stronger. But unfortunately, I have reached the age where I can't replace him by making another one.
Okay.
So this is my only begotten son. So I'm going to try and get him over the finish line.
No pressure, kid.
Yeah, you got to make it.
It's all on you.
Yeah.
So is he? How long has this been going on? This allergy to the sniffles and the constant stuff.
If I were a good mom, I'd tell you it was recently developed. But because I'm a mom who is trying to be a full-time comedian and a mom, I will tell you it's been a while. I think I thought, we'll see if next year that happens again.
Yeah, right.
It did.
That's what. I think that's what everybody goes through. You just think growing up, the immune system's working itself out, going through the kinks, putting itself through the paces.
School, right? We had COVID. Who can explain that? We had school years. I mean, the kid, and he's just kind of a snotty kid. He's got a lot of runny nose actions, like your dog.
That's exactly right, and we still love him. Right. Is he active skateboarder, football, what's he doing all the time?
So my kid is a nerd and I love it. He's really into D&D, although he just started doing trap shooting, which makes everyone in the city nervous. I know, 4 out of 5 the first time the clay pigeons went up. And he goes,
a natural.
Yeah, he goes, you just imagine where it's going to be and shoot there. I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Wow.
It's very zen.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm hoping to get cross-country skiing so he can be an Olympian. That's about the only sport we have for.
Well, the biathlon, cross that up, get the two things going. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
4 out of 5, first time
crazy?
out.
It's crazy. He's really, and it's very interesting. My son has a learning disability, so he still reverses the first letter of his own name.
Okay.
Really.
Right.
But he can trap shoot. So we're trying to lean into our strengths here.
It's important. Recognize them, lean into them, ignore all the crap that doesn't make sense.
I feel like we can all be adults and love what's good about ourselves. And here's the other problem is that as a comedian, he sees that I own a home and I can't do multiplication. So his feeling like I should actually learn is Did your kids go through that too? Because I think when you have a doctor or lawyer parent, you think I need to stay in school to be like they are.
Yeah.
But when you see your mom hang out and then just giggle at a bar for an hour and a half every night.
Oh yeah. No, there's some heady conversations as they start to become aware of things. Like you said, their friends all have very stable, static hours, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm bouncing in and out month at a time. And at some point, they start asking questions and going, well, why are you upset that I'm not doing well in school? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just pretending to be because I'm supposed to be because I think I'm supposed to care.
100%. That's me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he's a good human. He's super sweet and nice, and I like him, so we're going to keep him.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, if you're 10 years in and you're still on board, then it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot invested already. Starting over, expensive.
Yeah. You're right, because when he was a year old, we flew to Switzerland, and he cried, and I thought I could just make another one. But now at this point, like the sunk cost is too big.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah,
crying on the way to Switzerland, and then he got there, and it was just a world of chocolate. It was just
It was
just
Willy
perfect.
Wonka's, yeah.
Great. He came home with a great watch and a new appreciation for dark chocolate.
You know, the funniest thing that happened is he has
Spoke
bright
4
red hair.
languages.
Yeah, exactly. He has bright red hair. He's only Duolinging.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that red-headed white kids are like the bingo center square for Asian tourists.
I didn't know that either.
And so we got stopped by
Good to
throngs
know.
of Chinese tourists.
Really?
Yes, to take pictures with him. And people would stand around him and take pictures like you were next to a statue, like a souvenir.
Oh, my God.
And they would say, can I take it? Actually, usually the interpreter would say, can we take a picture with your child? And I'd go, sure. And I'd lean in and they go, no, just the child.
Really?
And I'd hand my baby off and they would just take pictures of him.
Wow, fair
Should
enough.
charge.
I mean, I was going to say, did you come back with more money than you left
I
with?
thought about it. I actually thought about trading him in. I thought, how much is this kid worth on the black market?
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
You get like 5 kids for him.
Exactly. 5 blonde kids for one.
Wendy Mayberry's in studio with us. June 30th at the Granada Theater. The show is called?
Day Drinking with Mom.
Day Drinking with Mom.
That takes me back.
There was an old song, Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Like an old soul song from the 70s. I had that 45 in the house. Daydreaming, but I like Day Drinking with Mom better.
It's really good. And we get a lot of it for anyone who had a mom or is a mom.
Okay, that's pretty much everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, got it.
So.
Got it. Is there ever too much day drinking? Did you ever, along the way, looking back a few days and go, I started too soon. Oh, well, got to play through.
I was overserved on an Easter one time, and it was pretty funny. And then I went and did a podcast, and I got had too much of it started out with communion, and then I just kept going. I couldn't stop. So
yeah, sure.
She's been back through like 4 times.
Yeah.
These things do happen. You are not from the upper Midwest originally, though. You're an Alabama girl.
That's right. My mom is from Alabama. Wherever your mom's from is where you're from. But I was actually in the military, so I've kind of moved all over.
Yeah, bounced around. I do remember that. And so, but how long have you been up in this area? I mean, you're in Wisconsin, but I'm including that in this
That's
area.
okay. I actually lived right here in Minneapolis until I swiped right on the wrong guy, ended up in Wisconsin, and haven't come back yet. But I work here, so it's actually been a really long time now. It's like 15 years or something. So
wow.
Yeah, quite a while.
All right, you're a local.
I'm a local now. Well, if you ask a local, they won't. I've never been invited to anybody's cabin. Let's put it that way. I'm still outside. Have you been to a cabin yet?
I've not been. Yes, I have. I did go to a friend's cabin up north, past Duluth once.
One time.
It was great.
It's great, isn't it?
It's
Didn't
really
get invited
nice.
back though, did you?
Not yet.
What'd you do?
Nothing. No, it was just as far as I know, it all went well. I don't want to be pushy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you have adapted that to the Midwest.
Yeah,
sure. I don't want
sure.
to be crazy and ask.
Nah, you don't want to do that.
It was real nice up there, wasn't it?
Oh, every time someone asks me to go up north with them, suddenly I'm just going to go out and shingle the roof real quick. I mean, but you can just sit there and have a beer if you want. I'm just going to get some work done. I've got to, uproot a rose bush over here. All right. So I know I've just been asked along to. I wish I could be that guy that just sat there and watched people work, but guilt. I was raised by a Catholic
Just
mother.
an extra set of hands. That's all you are.
Yeah, get involved.
Muscles.
You mentioned earlier you're not so much the home repair person. You're not the
No, in fact, this rain has been terrible. I don't know if anyone else has this problem. It just started raining in my house last night.
Oh,
in the house?
Has that happened to you before, where you see water come down from the ceiling and your brain goes, "That ain't right"?
It's really bad.
Speaking of that shingling,
Yeah.
Well, by the time you see water, there's
bad
so
news.
much more that's already.
I don't want to.
No,
and then
sorry.
I literally put out a pot and went, "You can't do anything about it tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow."
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing more unsettling than water coming through a place where a light is. Like a recessed light in the ceiling.
Yeah, then you wonder.
And then the light is still on, but water's dripping around it. And all I'm thinking is, I knew I was going to get electrocuted before it was all said and done.
Well, I started doing the math on how much is a life insurance. Would it be better, the house versus the life insurance? Like, what's the less deductible?
I'm amazed at certain things with the house. I just assume the house is a goner. Like it's like you're totaling a car.
We're moving.
You know what I mean? Like we had bees. We had a hornet's. A wasp nest in the ceiling once.
Oh no!
And I literally thought like, well, we just have to burn the house down. Yeah. You can't get rid of bees. They're here to stay. But there's no solution other than we have to start fresh.
You're like the worst landlord for yourself, right?
Oh, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Everything freaks me out. The one thing I learned early, which they say, it's like don't take up a piece of that floor. Don't open up that wall if you don't want to know what's on the other side of it.
I've watched enough HGTV, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm content to just sit there and hope whatever that noise is stops soon. That's good. Just turn the music up a little louder.
We're going to pray about that noise behind the walls.
That's it.
We're going to lay hands on it.
Thoughts and prayers is gonna, it's gonna see us through every time.
I love it. Yeah.
But you said where did you spend like your high school years? If you're bouncing around as a military brat, those years, the formative, most important, first time you're doing everything you're not supposed to do. Where was all that?
Well, wildly, I spent one of those years in Germany as an exchange student. So,
wow,
and we mentioned the Scorpions. I didn't realize they were a German band, which sounds so dumb.
They're from Hanover.
I know, but they have that, what was that? There's the song that when the wall came down, that was like the huge
Winds
hit.
of Change.
Winds of Change. That's right. Exactly. I was thinking about that when I was driving in listening.
Fascinating podcast called Winds of Change, where there's a story that has been going around for years that song was written in conjunction with and marketed heavily by people at the CIA.
Really?
It played a huge part in Eastern Europe, softening the idea of time for the Iron Curtain to come down. It's pretty fascinating. A lot of people like not saying much about it. It's worth a quick look. Spoiler alert, probably not. But anyway, it makes for a good story.
Believe it, because when I lived there, the wall it was a year after the wall came down, and the Eastern German kids that I became friends with were really not happy they were happy about some parts of it, but not happy because they had been in this system where if they played these rules, they were going to get things.
Right.
And now they were competing against these West German kids that
didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Where were you? What part of Germany?
So I was in Munich, but we took a vacation up into Eastern Germany, and we stayed with a family that had a girl my age.
Wow.
And the coolest thing for me was the maps on the walls. Anything beyond the Iron Curtain was like there be dragons. They didn't have the cities. They didn't have rivers, mountains. They wouldn't tell you.
Really?
Yeah, because you didn't want to escape or be able to plan.
Yeah.
So any of the government published maps had no information about anything that wasn't East Germany, Poland, Russia, Ukraine.
That's pretty strong. I was in Berlin in 1991 playing a gig, and a promoter rep. I just said, "Hey man, can I go see the East Side?" And guy says, "Yeah," and some kid put me in his car, and we drove right through so the wall had come down. This is shortly after we went right there, and we're driving around East Berlin, and it was like. It was like the reverse of The Wizard of Oz. Like I literally went right back into a black and white era.
That's true.
And you're looking like 100 yards that way. It's like the West, and then you're standing in an area that they still haven't repaired damage from World War II, and you're like, well, this is a whole different planet. And for all those years, right on the other side of this wall, which was no longer there, or it was open anyway, it was pretty astonishing. And everybody was talking about the West Berliners were like that same thing. They're like, well, they don't know how to do anything. They're just... all they know is do what you're told. And it was the story was we're reunified, we're one country, but of course the reality was pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's so true. And I thought it was interesting that all the buildings, they very much look like that communist, like no color, cement, very utilitarian.
Yeah.
The library had almost no books. Everything was sort of crumbling because they hadn't spent any money on infrastructure in the 40 years.
It's a lot like North Dakota.
Yeah.
So having gone to a school that had German exchange students in high school in the 80s, I know how dorky they all were.
Oh
were you that dorky to the German kids?
No. Here's the best thing ever is I am a complete American dork. In America, low on the totem pole.
Yeah, right.
When I went to Germany, I was the American girl. You sit with us. Like it was super popular, and that felt amazing. And because I got first invited on the dance floor, which they all can dance better than I could. I was real dorky, but I could drive, and they all couldn't drive because we could drive with 16.
Heck yeah.
So I got to drive cars, but I was a cool kid, and that felt amazing for a year.
So how is your German these days?
Perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can speak German still.
That's pretty strong.
Does that mean perfect, what you just said?
Yeah. Ganz genau.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I lived on a little farm and they didn't speak any English, and that was a saving grace because most Germans speak really great English.
Yeah.
And so some of those kids that lived with like city people would speak a lot of English. My host family lived on a tiny little Bavarian farm, spoke no English, and I had to learn. I actually speak German with a Bavarian dialect.
Nice.
So when I get in a taxi, people don't believe I'm American because they're like, Americans can't learn another language. And not like that. So,
and not so specifically.
Yeah. So it's really cool.
That is really cool. Day drinking June 30th at the Granada Theater. Day drinking with Mom, and you are doing that with. I'm sorry, say her name
That's okay.
again.
Jesse Campbell, and
Jesse
also
Campbell.
Allie Horman and Jeff Foser are doing supporting for us too. They're coming in as well.
Awesome. Best of luck with the tour.
Thanks so much.
Make it happen. One fun fact, final thought on Scorpions being from Hanover. If you get their live album, the singer is speaking to the crowd in English. Come on, Hanover, raise your hands to the sky. And we used to laugh and go, dude, you're from there. What? Just say it in German. He probably said it in German too, but they used the English for the album, and it was just always funny to us. Like, come on. Really? You can't even give the home crowd their own language? But, these are the economic realities of trying to make it in the West. All right, it's time to look back. I'll teach you a little something. Sports history on this day in 1982. Tom Watson chipped in a 16-footer on the 17th hole to knock Jack Nicklaus out of contention. Tom Watson won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. It's one of the more famous televised golf shots ever. Tom Watson dancing around really uncomfortably in that sweater after beating Jack. Reminder that was one of Jack Nicklaus's 19 major runner-up appearances. He came in second place at 19 majors, and he won 18. The Bear is still the GOAT, as it turns out.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.